Well, it is exactly at the top of the hour. Welcome to KBC's Lunchtime News. At this hour, we're keeping tabs on President William Ruto's speech today at State House Nairobi, where he feted over 1,000 young adults at State House Nairobi when it comes to the Gold State Award. We'll be telling you more about that. Also, an Orange Democratic Movement presser as well as a UDA presser in terms of the grassroots elections that were conducted by the ruling party within various parts of the country, as well as the Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, who is currently in Kisumu. We have that and so much more in the next 1 hour. So talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 1. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim, the sign language interpreter. The bottom end of the screen is Lensa Odingo. Welcome. We start off on a political note where election materials from the Mbeere North parliamentary by-election held on November 27th last year have been delivered to the Embu Law Courts for safe custody as preparations begin for the hearing of the petitions challenging the election of the area member of parliament Leonard Wamuthende. The move follows orders issued by the High Court Judge Richard Mwongo last Thursday, directing that the materials be preserved within court premises after petitioners applied for the protection as a key evidence in the case.
Election materials used in last year's Mbeere North parliamentary by-election have been moved to Embu Law Courts for secure storage as the legal challenge against the election of MP Leonard Wamuthende gathers pace. The exercise was conducted under tight security and coordinated by Acting Deputy Registrar Mercy Kinyua, with all parties in the case present as the court prepares to hear the petition starting March 13th. Speaking after the exercise, Acting Deputy Registrar Mercy Kinyua confirmed that the process was conducted smoothly.
Materials are here. You are with us since morning. We have taken you through what how the structure of how that place is. We have locked all the materials. Each party has their key, including myself. And as Wakilis and the Honorable Chief Magistrate has said, I will reiterate, nobody will open any door without the presence of the other person. We all have to be there to open.
Lawyers representing the various parties expressed satisfaction, saying the exercise complied fully with the court's orders.
So all the materials have been made available. They have been presented, we have recorded, we have satisfied ourselves that there are 134 ballot boxes as per the polling stations, and all of them have now been handed to court, and we now believe the court will be in a position to adjudicate the outstanding issues.
Tumepatiwa kila mtu funguo, kila petitioner amepatiwa funguo yake, upande wa upinzani wamepatiwa funguo zao na koti imebaki na funguo moja, hata IBC wako na funguo. Ni kumaanisha hakuna mtu anaweza ingia kwenye hiyo store mahali zimewekwa bila mwingine kuwa. Jaji alituambia kukatakikana kuwa hiyo room itafunguliwa, tutakuwa tunaitwa wote, ndio tunakuja, inafunguliwa, watu wote wakuwa pale.
The secured materials include ballot boxes containing ballot papers, voters registers, KIMS kits, and various results forms. The petition is scheduled for hearing beginning March 13th. Elsewhere, members of the Kisii County Assembly have raised alarm over what they term growing intimidation by the county executive, calling for political tolerance and respect for divergent views. Led by Basi Boitangare, MCA Thomas Obare alleged that in December last year, vehicles belonging to legislators perceived to oppose the county leadership were vandalized, with tires reportedly deflated and damaged.
Mwaka uliopita Disemba tarehe 2 tukiwa kule kwenye bunge, magari yetu yalipasuliwa na vijana ambao walikuwa wametumwa na mkuu wa county yetu ambaye ni Gavana Simba, na alikuwa amewaambia vyema kwamba hakuna hatua yoyote ambayo itachukuliwa dhidi yao. Na kwa hakika leo hii tunavyoongea, hata baada ya kuandikia waziri wa usalama Bwana Murkomen, tukaandikia PS Bwana Raymond Omolo, tukaandikia mkuu wa askari the IG to the police hakuna mtu yoyote ambaye ameshikwa na kile kitendo cha kushambulia magari ya wawakilishi wadi.
As leaders, we have a duty to maintain a peaceful political environment, and we need to respect each and everyone's decision.
Elsewhere, residents of Transmara South in Narok County have urged the government to lift the dusk to dawn curfew imposed last month, decrying that the restriction now threatens to cripple their livelihoods despite the return of calm in the area. Speaking during a peace meeting held at Siteti village in Kilgoris, the elders representing the feuding communities said they had embraced peaceful coexistence, pledging to safeguard it following weeks of inter-community tensions. Now, the community's leadership at the same time urged the locals to be peace ambassadors to help in reviving the region's economy and avert further inter-community clashes experienced in the recent past.
Tumeomba kwa sababu ya curfew iweze kuondolewa, na ninaona amani itadumu kwa sababu hawa watu tuseme Wamasai na Wakipsigis ni watu ambao wamechangamana kwa sehemu kubwa.
Amani ndio nguzo, kwa sababu hapo ndio tunapata watoto waende shule, biashara iweze kurudi normal, na tuweze kupata kwamba wakulima waanze kufanya kazi yao.
Curfew imekuwa nzuri, at least tumeachieve objective. About 80% of our objective was met. So tunaongojea tu wakuu wakituambia kwamba itaendelea ama itaondolewa, tutaelezea wananchi kwamba wajue kwamba curfew imeondolewa kwa sababu ya bidii yao kuweka amani.
And in other news, police have been urged to crack the whip hard on drug barons and illegal brewers in Kayole Estate, Nairobi County. Speaking when they joined residents for a late year-end party in the area, Nairobi County Police Commander George Seda and Embakasi Central Member of Parliament Benjamin Gadhiru Mwangi also decried what they said are lenient court bailouts to undermine the efforts by police to eliminate the menace.
Police to reform. That's why we have IPOA. That's why we have everyone else. Tukikaa pamoja na nyinyi, watu muhimu zaidi ni nyinyi ambao Mungu ametutuma hapa ili tuweze kusaidiana nanyi.
Polisi wanashika, wanapeleka kotini, wanasikia fine ya 2,000 ama 1,000. Wale vijana, wale wazee, wale wamama wamepoteza maisha sababu ya hiyo pombe. Tafadhali ni baya.
Now to a developing story where President William Ruto has underscored the role of the youth in shaping the nation through their extraordinary potential. The president, who spoke at State House Nairobi during a gold-level President's Award ceremony, said that through harnessing this potential, the grand ambition to transform Kenya into a first-world economy remains alive. During the ceremony, more than 1,252 youths who attained the President's Award gold level were recognized for their resilience. The participants at this level underwent voluntary service, skills development and week-long residential project involving a challenging expedition in unfamiliar environments.
My faith in the ability of Kenya's young people to transform our nation is as deep as it is unshakable. When I articulated our ambitious vision to elevate Kenya to a first world status within our lifetime, I did so with absolute confidence in the extraordinary potential of the young people of our nation. I am confident that our youth possess the capability, the energy, the talent, and the resolve to turn our grand ambition into reality.
Now, a section of youth delegates from the Orange Democratic Movement have come out strongly in defense of the party unity and the broad-based government, calling for discipline, stability and full implementation of the agreed reforms. Speaking in Nairobi, the delegates urge leaders within the party to avoid public spats and instead focus on strengthening the party ahead of the 2027 general election. Leadership under Siaya Senator, that is Dr. Oburu Oginga, to crack the whip against perceived party rebels undermining the party structures. They have also demanded for the full implementation of the 10-point agenda agreed between President William Ruto and the late Odinga to achieve constitutional reforms and freedom, devolution, youth livelihoods, justice and integrity. They also pledged to mobilize young people countrywide through operations Linda Ground with a focus of voter registration, national ID acquisition and peaceful political participation.
Disputes belong in party organs, not in the media. Anyone nursing leadership ambitions must wait until after the 2027 general election. This youth movement stands firmly behind Dr. Oburu Oginga. Any theatrics that are going to be brought by any politician, be it Babu Owino, I saw him the other day speaking, saying that the party should be handed over to him. He will tell us what mandate he holds because we are the delegates. And we are telling him that if he thinks he's bigger than Daktari, he should go and form his party, as my comrade has said.
Ever since Dr. Oburu was given a position to be the party leader, he has never chased anyone out. If you look at even the forum here, we are the people now asking now the party structures to now take action on those leaders. But Dr. Oburu has never at one point shown the interest of chasing any political leader from this party. But why is it that they cannot respect him?
Central Region Commissioner Joshua Nkanatha has put on notice those selling drugs and illicit alcohol. Nkatha noted that some leaders are hiding behind court orders to shield themselves from arrest. Nkatha said that police will indiscriminately crack the whip on drugs and illicit alcohol operations in the region. He spoke during a joint security operation carried out by law enforcement agencies from Kiambu and Murang'a counties along a river Chania. During the operation, one suspect was arrested and 600 liters of illicit brew, commonly known as Kangara, in Gatanga sub-county, Murang'a county, was seized.
Second generation. Even those people who are claiming to be having court orders, operating using court orders, they should ignore. They are sure that that person is selling poison to the people. We are not going to respect a court order when we know that we are using it to sell poison. But we will respect court orders where we know people are doing genuine business.
These vices have destroyed the very fabric of our society, and we want to focus on all of them to make sure that we redeem our community from consuming these drinks, which are now becoming a national security issue.
What is the next? To education matters now, leaders from Kajiado County have raised alarm over a low grade 10 transition rate as the reporting deadline set by the Ministry of Education lapses today. They say many learners are yet to report to their assigned schools, with parents citing far-flung placements, incorrect school allocation and lack of school fees as the main obstacles to the low admissions.
As the extended deadline of grade 10 transition to senior secondary school by the Ministry of Education comes to a close today, Kajiado County leaders say that up to 75% of learners in the county, particularly in rural areas, are yet to report, attributing it to poor accountability, delayed capitation disbursement and a flawed learner placement system.
Mtoto wangu amefanya anastahili kuingia 10. Sina hata shilingi ya kumuingiza kwa shule. Hata results sijachukua. Jua hata sasa nitachukua nifanye naye nini? Nilimwambia Januari by February Mungu akinisaidia ataingia, lakini sasa February ndio tunaingia. Fona sina, ako tu kwa nyumba. hata hiyo mpeleka sio apimwe makliniki, sina hata shilingi. Naomba nisaidiwe.
Tunataka kuambia serikali, it is your responsibility, not the responsibility of the parents. It is for you to make sure that students report to school, and you send capitation to school without stating anything any other time.
The leaders who were speaking during the commissioning of 8 new classrooms constructed at Kiserian Primary School, courtesy of NGCDF, called on the Ministry of Education to address urgently the gaps being experienced on the grade 10 transition that is slowing down the process.
Wasikue na mambo ya kusumbua wazazi. Kama wanataka transition, watoto waende kwa shule, wafanye hesabu ya watoto wakiwa kwa shule. Hakuna mzazi amekataa kupeleka. Lakini kwa sababu gani hawaendi? Wanaitishwa pesa kwa sababu hakuna capitation kwa shule, na hata kama ni zile pesa ambazo wanaambia wazazi walipe, wazazi wengi wamelemewa.
Elsewhere, as part of Homa Bay County effort to ensure no learner is left behind, County Commissioner Ronald Miwawi says any child found at home while still in possession of a primary school or junior secondary school uniform will be admitted to the nearest C4 school.
Those who are not able to take their children to C1, C2, or even C3 schools, we want to assure them that even our C4 schools can take these learners. And once they are admitted, we can seek help from these other agencies to facilitate their learning.
This, even as it raised concerns of a growing trend of parents claiming they are unable to contribute anything towards their children's education, cautioning that the situation risks encouraging a culture of dependency.
We are asking our parents outside there to take some responsibility, to show some way of willingness to take up some of their roles, so that at the end of the day we can sift through and get to know exactly which one is a desperate case, a true desperate case.
Meanwhile, Mwengi North Member of Parliament Paul Nzengu has urged secondary school principals not to send students home for lack of school fees, instead to be patient as the government is yet to disburse capitation that will cater for bursaries of the needy students.
If you send those children home, you'll have ruined their life, because there is no possibility of parents raising any money. So the only money they are depending on will be this bursary. Then I'm also going to be talking to the well-wishers to try and get some relief. I know the government is trying to bring some relief, but also we are going to talk to investors.
Opicho Chemtai for Lunchtime News.
Still on education matters, Senior Principal of Dagoretti High School, John Kairo Ndade, has lauded the Ministry of Education for ongoing improvements and the expansion of the school infrastructure, saying the developments have made the placement of grade 10 learners much smoother. Speaking at the school in Dagoretti South during the ongoing admissions exercise, Kairo assured parents that large numbers of admitted learners have already begun classes, even as the admission process continues seamlessly. He also expressed gratitude to His Eminence Archbishop Andreas Makarios of the Orthodox Church for supporting vulnerable learners to access quality education after Amani, a grade 9 candidate who scored 60 points, secured admission to Dagoretti High School.
This is going to improve this institution very much, considering that this is an old school which was started in 1938, and therefore some of the buildings that are there are old and definitely needed some change.
There are some infrastructure that we are going to do in different schools, about 5 schools in the area. One of them is within Michinda Primary itself. We are doing an admission block and some student dormitories.
We were handed over this project in 7th July 2025, and the scope is construction of 2,680 units, both 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, and also some units will also be having shops. On top of that, we're also anticipating to have collaboration with the Juakali artisans, who are going to prepare what you call the windows and the doors So all of them will be partnering with us.
Now, a family in Malindi, Kilifi County, is appealing for assistance to raise school fees for their 2 children who are due to join grade 10 with a school admission coming to a close. 16-year-old Lucy Hinzano and her elder brother, 17-year-old Stephen Hinzano, have been admitted to Moi Forces Academy in Mombasa and St. Joseph's Senior School in Kaloleni, respectively, but cannot afford the more than 100,000 shillings needed as their father is in prison serving a 20-year jail term. Their mother survives with menial jobs.
Naomba msaada kwenu ili na mimi niweze kwenda shule. Kufungwa kwa babangu kumeniathiri hivi kimasomo, nimerudi chini, alafu nikiangalia familia yangu yapata shida kwa sababu mamangu hali yenye anapitia ya kikazi hana.
Nikiangalia nyumbani mama yuko peke yake katika kutuhangaikia sisi chakula, fees na kila kitu. Hadi mara nyingine watu wafukuzwa na tuwezi kwenda shule, tunabidi tumsaidie kikazi ndio tupate school fees kulipa, ama tupate kama ni pesa kidogo sasa kusaidia chakula kwa nyumbani.
Baina ya watoto 7 kuna watoto 2 wamemaliza grade 9 na sina uwezo wa kuwapeleka mbele. Maana kazi sina na shughuli zangu ni za vibarua, kufulia na biashara hizi ndogo ndogo za kutengeneza mahamri.
A beauty brand has launched a transformative initiative at Langata women's prisons aimed at equipping women inmates with practical hairdressing skills to support their reintegration into society after serving their term. Now, the program, rolled out in a partnership with prison authorities, provides hands-on training in professional hairdressing, including hair care, styling, hygiene, and customer service. Through structured lessons and practical sessions, participating inmates will gain market-ready skills designed to open pathways to self-employment or formal jobs in the beauty industry. The initiative is part of the company's broader commitment to women's empowerment and social responsibility to address challenges of women after imprisonment.
So basically, we are also here. You know, some of them will not be here like forever. So yeah, we actually have a pool of inmates that are going to be released very soon, and some of them we are going to employ in our company or also in our partner salons that we've actually partnered with.
Any knowledge ama any skill, but kama venye watu wakadiri wamekuja hivi, wamekuja kutupatia skill yenye itaweza kutusaidia tukitoka jela, tuende tusaidie huko nje ndio tusirudie crime, na tumeshukuru sana.
The government has activated its drought response mechanism to cushion vulnerable communities in arid and semi-arid lands following the worsening drought conditions in the region. Speaking during the flagging of water and relief food trucks in Garissa County, the County Commissioner Mohammed Mwabudzo said the intervention is part of a wider national response by the government to cushion its people. The project, consisting of 4,480 bags of rice and beans as well as water trucks, will prioritize vulnerable families and critical institutions, particularly those in Lagdera and Balambala sub-counties.
Serikali imechukua jukumu kuhakikisha kwamba na chakula cha kutosha na hali kadhalika maji kwa binadamu na mifugo.
As Kenya Red Cross, we've supported the community by doing nutrition outreaches in Mbeere and other sub-counties. We are even supporting rehabilitation of strategic wells and water funds so that the community can get clean and clean water.
There is a lot of migration of livestock, but however, the government is in the process of procuring livestock feed, which will support the counties of arid and sub-arid counties within the next few weeks.
26 minutes past the hour. We need to take a break, but I will be telling you a similar story that is happening there in Lagdera and Balambala as well in Tana River. So don't go too far. We have that and so much more in business and sports as well.
Katika Qur'an tukufu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anatuamuru tukumbushane, kwani kukumbushana kunawafaa waumini. Kwa mujibu wa hadithi, Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam anatushauri tueneze ujumbe wake angalau kwa aya moja. Basi tunatia ari kufanya ambacho ni jukumu la kila Muislamu, kukumbushana mema na kukatazana maovu. Tunakuletea mawaidha za mashehe, wataalam, maustadh, madrasa, makala spesheli na Optifatuma Yakub, mafunzo na historia za mitume na maswahaba, na burudani kupitia nashid na wasifu za munshid. Tazama ukumbi wa Kiislamu nami Alishe kila Ijumaa saa 9:30 katika KBC Channel 1.
Kuna upayakani mtu akikwambia hiyo picha ni mzuri? Kuna upayakani?
Unaangalia simu yangu kwa nini? You're not allowed to read anything on my phone.
Excuse
phone
me.
is private.
What can you do?
I can terminate you even now.
To terminate who?
Yes.
Nauliza, macho iko na pasia?
Macho hakuna pasia.
Very good. Kuangalia ni vibaya?
Ni makosa, hapana angalia kitu.
Nauliza kuangalia namna hivi vile naangalia ni makosa, ni dhambi.
Hiyo hakuna makosa.
Very nice. Kwa nini unakuja kuongea mambo ya urongo na ili hali wakati mimi nilikuwa naangalia abiria wengine ulinipika ngumi na ukaningoa meno? Si ndio hii? Na hata huku ingia kwa hiyo kari, huku kwa hiyo matatu. Kwa nini
nani alikutoa ndani ya matatu? Kama wewe anatoanga hii msemo ngumi, nani alitoa wewe chini?
Dereva ndio walitusema tushuke chini.
Nikakukamata ukasema nisamee. Ukumbuke ukiomba msamaha.
Acha uongo bwana, watu si wajinga.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, hundreds of residents in Tana River County are facing severe food and water shortage following inadequate rainfall in the area. Speaking after visiting the area to assess the situation, Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Special Programs Geoffrey Roku said the villages of Assam, Kone and Bombo are experiencing water scarcity following the drying up of all water pans and dams, forcing residents to walk for long distances in search of water. However, he disclosed that 23 counties have been affected by the ongoing drought, with the government allocating funds for intervention measures.
Tutatafuta pesa ili tuweze kuja kutoa hiyo mchanga ambayo iko kwa hii ardhi ili mvua ikinyesha maji hiyo mingi ya kutosha. Vile vile ili ambayo ingine iko pale mbele pia tufanye vile vile.
Miaka mingi sana hatuoni huduma ya county government. Tunalia kuhusu shida ya maji. Kama saa hii mimi niko na siku 3 sijaoga maji, kwa sababu bibi yangu anatoka kilomita 6 kwenda kuburuta jerikeni ya maji kutoka kilomita 6 kuleta mpaka nyumbani. Atapikia watoto ama ataniwekea ya kuoga?
Tungependa utuangazie zaidi, uangalie sehemu hii yetu, kwa sababu tunayotegemea ilikuwa ni mfugo. Mfugo wenyewe hali hawana, wamekonda, wamekufa, wameathirika. Kila hali ambayo kwamba mfugaji saizi yako nayo ni mbaya.
Kenyatta University medical students have finally begun clinical training at the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, ending years of wrangles after a new cooperation agreement between the two institutions. The students are optimistic that the agreement will provide opportunities for advanced training, innovation and research at the state-of-the-art referral hospital.
Years of prolonged wrangles between Kenyatta University students and the management of the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, more than 300 medical students have finally commenced their clinical training at the facility, making a major breakthrough in the medical education collaboration. The students were officially received by the hospital's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Zainab Gura, who described the collaboration as a significant first step, noting that it would be expanded to ensure students acquire practical skills, research exposure, and professional competence required to serve the society effectively.
And therefore, we are looking forward, Chair and VC, for expanding our collaboration, not only in training the students, but in expanding research and evidence for decision-making in health. We are looking forward to making sure that we are able to provide service delivery.
Kenyatta University Vice-Chancellor Professor Paul Wainaina accompanied the students drawn from medicine, public health, medical services, and other allied health programs. Professor Wainaina reflected on the difficult journey that preceded the partnership, acknowledging the challenges and sustained efforts that culminated in the agreement.
There are those who are here, they have been trying to see how they can use his facility. They have graduated. I have let us say, unfortunate. It is not unfortunate. I would say, CEO, is to have a chance.
For the students, access to the referral hospital would greatly enhance their clinical experience and professional growth.
Appreciate our commitment led by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Wainaina, especially for what they have done, how they have enjoyed.
Dennis Branham for Lunchtime News.
More than 60 workers employed by Busia County government to sweep the town have downed their tools to protest delayed salaries running for 9 months now. The labourers, who are demanding up to 3 million shillings in delayed salaries, say they have been going through a difficult time making ends meet, adding that the manager has been sending them around the county offices without answers. They are further decrying poor working conditions, even as they call for urgent intervention to sort out their welfare. The workers later marched to the office of the Senator Kiom Tata to present their grievances.
Chief Officer, tukaenda kwa Chief Officer akatuongelesha, lakini hakutulipa chochote. Akatuitia wakubwa wa finance na minister, hawakutujali kwa shughuli yoyote ile. Sasa tumekuwa watu wenye hatuna mwelekeo. Watoto wetu wamekaa nyumbani, hakuna school fees. Watu wengine wamerenti nyumba, watu wengine ni wajane. Kama mimi ni mama mjane, niko na total orphans kwa nyumba yangu.
Juzi nimefungua nyumba juzi pale, wananidai shilingi 50,000. Nende pale na mkanga asubuhi, nenda nafanya kazi ya solid waste. Naingia ndani ya mtaro ya sewage yenyewe kufungua hiyo kwa matope, na tembea ndani ya karabati.
Nini naendelea Busia? Chenye kama ni vifagia tunafagilia, sio wenyewe tunajinunulia. Hatuna gloves, hatuna kitu kinaonyesha tunafanya. Hata mwizi anaweza kuwa wanafukuza mwizi, wanatupata wewe unafagia saa 10 unapigwa kama mwizi. Tunakutana mapusi zimekufa, maumbwa zimekufa, tunasanya mapambas na mkono. Na watoto wametupwa hata wengine kwa takataka.
Also, in a major boost for wildlife conservation, the Kenya Space Agency has launched a satellite-based conservation program to protect the endangered mountain bongo. The initiative has been launched at the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, aimed at safeguarding the rare antelope and restoring its forest habitat. The initiative, dubbed Project Cantella, is being implemented at the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, with similar efforts underway in the Abdiaziz and Kakamega forests. the last remaining habitats of the rare mountain bongo. Speaking during the official launch, conservation stakeholders said the project will use advanced satellite technology to enhance monitoring and restoration of bongo habitats. Through high-resolution satellite imagery, the project aims to improve conservation planning by closely monitoring forest ecosystem and bongo habitats.
Areas where the bongos can thrive. So by monitoring these changes over time and be able to monitor them in real time, it's going to help us in making quick decisions when we are doing these reintroduction and rewilding programs. And this is something that we have not been having for a long time.
We will be using satellite data to monitor how the ecosystem has changed over time. So we go back in time 20, 30 years and see how that habitation looked like before now they started reducing in numbers. So as the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy reintroduces them into the ecosystem, they will be making decisions that are informed on data.
Now we're using these technologies to help frontline conservation organizations like the ones here in Mount Kenya monitor the ecosystems and the habitats of endangered animals like the critically endangered bongo, so that we can help this population recover and thrive here in Kenya.
Wanjohi ward in Nyandarua County is said to benefit from improved infrastructure and water access following an inspection of key development projects by the county leadership. The inspection focused on the ongoing construction of the Kirika-Wanjohi River Bridge, which is expected to address long-standing challenges caused by flooding at the existing culvert and enhance connectivity between Kiamboga and Gitei areas. Once complete, the bridge will provide a safer passage for pedestrians and motorists, opening up agricultural zones and supporting economic activities within the ward. The visit also marked the commissioning of the Mbeere borehole, implemented under a financially locally led climate action program aimed at improving water access and strengthening climate resilience for local communities.
Tumekuja kufungua mradi huu ambaye ni wa borehole. Tumetumia milioni 20 na tunashukuru kwa sababu imetoa maji mengi sana, that 1000 liters kwa saa moja, na tunaona zile homestead tuko nazo hapa karibu 400 tutaweza kutosheleza maji hayo, na wananchi wamefurahi kwa sababu wakati wa kiangazi huu sasa ng'ombe za hapa na wananchi ambao walikuwa wakienda kilomita 7 katika mto wa Marewa sasa wanaenda kupata maji katika boma zao.
Siku ya leo tulikuwa katika hii mpango ya kuangalia maendeleo katika ward hii. Tumeandamana na governor na maafisa wote wa serikali, na kama vile governor amesema tumefungua miradi kadhaa ya barabara. At least tumefanya kilomita 34 za barabara kwa mwaka huu kupitia machinery program ya county, kupitia contractors, kupitia framework zile tumepea mashini kazi, tumefanya 34 kilometers.
Members of Mkamenyi Farmers Cooperative have appealed to the government to intervene in a long-running land dispute they say has seen their community land sold illegally. The residents claim the land previously leased for sisal farming should have reverted back to the community after the lease expired several years ago. Instead, they allege the land continues to change ownership under unclear circumstances. The residents have accused political leaders in Taita Taveta County of failing to protect their ancestral land, noting that land-related conflicts have increased in recent years. The community is now calling on the national government to investigate the matter and ensure justice is served.
Tuko hapa siku ya leo kuleta kilio chetu na malalamishi yetu kutokana na kile kinachoendelea katika shamba la mkonge la Voi. Ni dhahiri shairi kwamba shamba la mkonge la Voi ni shamba la mwananchi, kwa sababu walikuwa wamepewa hapo awali, walikuwa wamepewa on a lease agreement, na lease agreement iliweza kuisha, na sasa tunaona kwamba kuna vitu vinavyotokea ambavyo vieleweki, kwamba sasa shamba hilo linagawanywa na kuuzwa, na tukiangalia kwamba viongozi wote wamenyamaza.
Mimi naona suluhisho lililoko lau kama hawa wananchi badala ya kutatizwa hivi shamba hili la mkonge ambalo la Mkameni farmers, ingeliwezekana hata hao wengine ambao tunaona wamefurishwa wangeliweza kusaidika na sehemu hiyo. Mimi naona tatizo lililoko ni kwamba pengine kilio hichi hakikufikie mtukufu rais.
Mkameni wamedhulumiwa sana kiasi tumejaribu, tumeng'ang'ana. Mheshimiwa Rais, tunaomba ututetee. Kwa sababu tukiangalia ile shamba ya Mkameni iko na makaburi pale ndani. Kuna watoto wanaishi pale. Wale watoto hata kwenda shule ni bahati kwa sababu saa zingine wanafungiwa hata geti.
Ford Kenya Party has announced preparations for its apologies for that. That is a story that has just come in from the Ford Kenya Party, where Ford Kenya Party has announced preparations for the forthcoming grassroots elections to be held in April this year as it seeks to strengthen its grassroots structure across the country. Speaking after a consultative meeting of the party's management committee, Ford Kenya Deputy Party Leader Ken Lusaka said the elections will be conducted nationwide from the polling station level to the county leadership structure. Ford Kenya remains firmly within the Kenya Kwanza alliance even as discussions continue across the political divide. He acknowledged ongoing talks between the Orange Democratic Movement ODM and the United Democratic Alliance UDA, saying dialogue remains part of Kenya's democratic process. Lusaka also took time to dismiss claims that Ford Kenya Party leader and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula was indisposed, describing the reports as false and misleading.
The party across the country by the end of April. These elections are aimed at 1, strengthening party structures from the polling stations, ward, constituency and county levels.
Strong board, elections board, which is led by the chairman of the party, Mr. Ruhu, and we are looking forward to conducting these elections starting from April, and it will end with the national NDC. Ford Kenya is very happy to be in the Kenya Kwanza coalition. And in this coalition, we welcome other brothers, parties from other areas. We want Kenya to remain as one. So political party formation should not be a reason for divisiveness.
But the various committees have mandated their political parties to go ahead and initiate negotiations. As for the Kenya, this is a management team. We'll also sit, when we start those negotiations, we'll also go and negotiate for what we can get. So.
And now to the ruling party, where the United Democratic Alliance UDA Party National Executive Committee has resolved to conduct a repeat election following numerous complaints on the recently concluded grassroots election. Speaking in a party's headquarters in Nairobi, led by the party's chairperson, Cecilia Mbeere, the leader said the decision to have a repeat election is to ensure the exercise is free and fair. The party shall conduct repeat elections in selected polling centers across 42 counties scheduled to take place on the 7th of March 2026 for the Phase 3 elections, as well as the 28th of March 2026 for Phase 2 elections.
Registration for aspirants seeking various positions for the Polling Center Congress commences today on the party website. There's a portal where the aspirants can register, and we encourage them to start registration today.
We do not want anybody to feel that they are being left behind, and that is why we resolved that as early as now we want to register all of them, so that those who have interest in running for positions on UDA and Kenya Kwanza can register, and we will engage with them again under the leadership of the party leader the other Monday, as has been mentioned in this communique. There have been all the complaints that have been raised, and we believe we are getting it better. We did Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. Now we are going for Phase 4 on the 7th of March and Phase 5 on the 28th of March. We believe in each of those sessions we shall be getting better at it, so that at the end of it, on the 28th of March in the evening, UDA as a party will have polling center officials in all the 27,000 277 polling centers across the country. No other party has ever done that, but we believe we can do it because that's who we are.
Elsewhere, Senior Principal of Dagoretti High School, John Cairo Ndade, has lauded the Ministry of Education for ongoing improvements and expansion of school infrastructure, saying the developments have made the placement of grade 10 learners much smoother. Speaking at the school in Dagoretti South during the ongoing admissions exercise, Cairo assured parents that a large number of admitted learners have already begun classes, even as the admission process continues seamlessly. He also expressed gratitude to His Eminence Archbishop Andreas Makarios from the Orthodox Church for supporting vulnerable learners to access quality education after Amani, a grade 9 candidate who scored 60 points, secured admission to Dagoretti High School.
Our process has been going on well, and the grade 10 students are already settled in class, and they have begun learning as we even await those others that are admitted. We thank the ministry for giving us that opportunity. Our school has infrastructure and the teaching staff, and the boys have settled for the new curriculum.
And to thank the school that I was. They provided me the support and given me proper education that made me to reach up to this level.
We are actually discovering that among our children, if we give them the chance, we have very much talented young men and women. Therefore, it is a great joy for us to see that some of our boys and girls were able to perform very well.
Now, welcome to the world of business. Prospective mining companies will receive operating licenses within 3 months of application in new mining regulations. Mining Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary Hassan Ali Joho says prompt licensing will aid in mineral royalty collection and disbursement to host communities.
Counties are set to receive 2.9 billion shillings in mineral royalties that were held at the National Treasury's Consolidated Fund for a decade. Mining Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho says in new mining regulations, counties will start receiving mineral royalties promptly, as the money will be distributed immediately the National Treasury receives deposits from mining companies.
The national government gets their fair share. At the same time, the counties and the community will get their fair share. So as we collect, we disburse. And I think that is, for me, is more important and critical at this point, rather than who is owed what.
To fast-track royalty collection and payments, the government is planning to fast-track licensing of all mining companies to create a register of companies and payment schedules. Additionally, licensing will be done at the county level to ensure host communities benefit from mining activities.
Kama umesatisfy, umesikia waziri akisema uanzie chini, upate from consent, upate consent zote ukija juu, na wao ukija upande hii, wasikuwe na mapendeleo yote. Basi mtu apatiwe license, Mkenya aendelee na kazi yake kama kawaida.
Stakeholders consultation on gold and rare earth mining in the counties of Kakamega and Kwale are ongoing to ensure mining activities are on schedule.
We will not respond to speculators or naysayers. It is expected that those things will happen. But we have a responsibility to unlock that potential. And we will not be swayed or influenced in a negative way by a political process.
The government is planning to heighten surveillance on illegal mining activities to increase earnings from the sector.
This is an exercise that will always, us from our side, continue to enforce to ensure the right and licensed mining companies are on the ground.
Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
The government has intensified the distribution of farm inputs in a move aimed at lowering production costs and supporting agricultural output ahead of the planting season, while flagging off 35,000 bags of fertilizer at the National Cereals and Produce Board NCPB depot in Sotik, Bomet County. Agriculture Principal Secretary Paul Rono called on farmers to make use of the current fertilizer in stock that have been made available at various depots across the country. Rono further encouraged farmers to adopt coffee farming, noting its improved market returns, and announced a 1 million donation of certified coffee seeds to cooperative societies.
Kila mtu lazima ukuswe, na tumeona hawa mama yenye wameteseka kwa muda mrefu. Tunataka hawa mama waanze hii safari. President nimesema inaitwa safari ya Singapore. Tunataka kuanzia ya wamama, kusaidia wamama ili wapate watajirike na wafanye kazi yao, kuuza vitu vyao kwa njia inayofaa na wakae kwa usalama na wapate pesa. Na siku ya leo tulipatia hawa mama kwa program iko Ministry of Agriculture, tulipatia umbrellas yenye inasaidia hawa mama ili wakiwa kwa jua kali watakaa wakiwa na mvuli.
On the international front, the European Parliament is planning to suspend approval of the U.S. trade deal agreed in July, according to sources close to the International Trade Committee. The suspension is set to be announced in Strasbourg, France, on Wednesday. The move will mark another escalation in tensions between the U.S. and Europe as Donald Trump ratchets up his efforts to acquire Greenland, threatening new tariffs over the issue on the weekend. Now, details of this and other stories making headlines is in our International Business News Roundup.
The standoff has rattled financial markets, reviving talk of a trade war and the possibility of retaliation against the U.S. for its trade measures. Shares on both sides of the Atlantic were lower on Tuesday, with European stock markets seeing a second day of losses. In the US, the Dow Jones slid more than 1.7%, while the S&P 500 dropped more than 2%, and the Nasdaq closed about 2.4% lower. On the currency markets, the US dollar held steady against its major peers, having dropped 0.5% overnight, the biggest daily fall since early December. Trade tensions between the US and Europe had eased since the two sides struck a deal at Trump's Mbeere golf course in Scotland in July. That agreement set US levies on most European goods at 15%, down from the 30% Trump had initially threatened as part of his Liberation Day wave of tariffs in April. In exchange, Europe had agreed to invest in the US and make changes on the continent, expecting to boost US exports. Meanwhile, coffee connoisseurs from around the world descended on Dubai for one of the world's largest coffee gatherings, bringing their unique flavors and coffee-making philosophies while forging new connections at the three-day event, which wrapped up on Tuesday. The fifth edition of the World of Coffee Dubai, a leading specialty coffee exhibition in the Middle East, this year attracted some 17,000 professional visitors and over 450 global exhibitors from more than 130 countries and regions to the United Arab Emirates city. The expo highlighted the deep cultural and economic ties that coffee fosters worldwide, giving visitors the chance to explore the full supply chain behind the ever-growing coffee industry, from cultivation and roasting to brewing and consumption. Industry insiders and enthusiasts are particularly pleased to uncover the journey of coffee across borders as they discover where their favorite tasty coffee beans originate from and come together to share a cup. Finally, Netflix has updated its offer for Warner Bros. Discovery streaming and film business and will pay completely in cash as it looks to fend off rival Paramount Skydance in pursuit of the Hollywood studio. The move amends the streaming giant's original offer, which would have funded the transaction using a mix of cash and shares. In a joint announcement, Netflix and Warner Bros. Said the change will provide more certainty to shareholders and enable them to vote the deal through more quickly. The update comes as Paramount Skydance presses on with its rival bid to buy Warner Bros. Despite being repeatedly rebuffed. Netflix's plan would give the streaming giant ownership of Warner Bros.' rich library, which includes franchises such as Harry Potter and Game of Thrones, as well as streaming service HBO Max. It has offered to pay $27.75 per share for the streaming and film businesses, or roughly $72 billion, a price that remains unchanged. The transaction, including debt, values an enterprise at roughly $82 billion.
Here's the latest in sports. The National Olympic Committee of Kenya has awarded the national women's volleyball team, Malkia Strikers, a scholarship worth $50,000 to support their preparations and qualification campaign for the 2028 Olympic Games. Speaking during the event, NOC Secretary General John Ogola said the funds sourced from the Olympic Solidarity will be dispersed progressively from now until the Los Angeles Games in 2028. He added that the Olympic Solidarity Program is designed to support national Olympic committees in athlete development, with a focus on federations that require additional assistance to enhance performance and competitiveness on the global stage. The Kenya women's volleyball team currently ranks at 21st in the world and sits atop of the African standing with 158 points. Cameroon follows in second place, while Egypt is third with 46 points and Algeria fourth with 28 points. Team officials say the funding will go towards training, exposure and competition as the team intensifies preparations for the upcoming assignments, which include the Africa Women's Nation Championship, which Kenya will host in August this year.
We are working closely with the government, and of course through these scholarships we're trying to organize for overseas training camps where we can get better facilities. Of course we know we have that challenge as a country, but we're trying our best, working closely with the government, and of course if we get certain opportunities that we can have our teams train in overseas camps.
Kila mtu atakuwa motivated kufanya kitu yenye tunapenda. Unajua kama si volleyball, we choose what you want. Na kama tuchagua volleyball na tukiona hivi scholarship kama scholarship inakuja towards us, tunakuwa motivated.
Now, Kenya's growing baseball community received a major boost this week after dozens of coaches and umpires from across the country converged at the Nairobi field of a Dreams Complex in JKUAT for an intensive two-day professional training program. The Play Global coaches and umpires training brought together participants from different regions for a high-level instruction aimed at strengthening coaching and officiating standards with the international best practices.
Very specialized equipment to play the sport, and what is happening is that we are trying to get as many equipment as possible so that each child can at least have their own bat and their own glove, and that this will motivate them more to play the game. We have also realized that we need to work very closely with the Ministry of Education, and we are spreading the sport of baseball in our schools.
There's always, you see the perception of having two teams on the field. You got a home team and a visiting team. Well, there's three teams on the field. There's a team of umpires too, and they often get forgot. And so we have these guys here that they're a big part of the game. And to grow the game of baseball, you need good officiating.
Everyone's been super receptive to the skills that we try to impart. We worked on movement, we worked on infield fundamentals, we worked on outfield fundamentals. So we covered a lot of ground, and the coaches were great. They really got after it these last 2 days.
The Kenya national futsal team played a friendly match against ASEC Huruma as part of their preparations for the 2026 Futsal African Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Kenyan team, which reported to camp last week, will face Namibia in the first leg of the first round qualifier on the 23rd of this month and then play the return fixture on the 28th of January. And now to Europe, where Manchester City suffered a heavy 3-1 defeat at Bodo Glimt away from home in one of the 9 UEFA Champions League matches played last night. They were shocking losses also for the European heavyweights Borussia Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Leverkusen.
Stand Manchester City to record their first win in the league phase of the UEFA Champions League this season. The result saw them move to 27th position and boosted their chances of remaining in the competition with one more fixture to go. Man City's defeat saw them drop to 7th position from 4th with 13 points. Back in the game. Spanish giants Real Madrid rushed Monaco 6-1 as starman Kylian Mbappe scored a brace with Jude Bellingham, Mastantuono and Vinicius Jr. adding to the score. The resounding win saw Real Madrid move up to the second place with 15 points.
And finally, Emma Raducanu looked below par in her Australian Open second-round defeat by Australia's Anastasia Popova, hopefully I've said that name correctly, that denied the Briton a meeting with world number 1 Sabalenka.
Raducanu's.
Interestingly, some of the fans, especially for City, United and Liverpool, slept at exactly 1 a.m. today because they were watching Arsenal playing last night, hoping them to lose. We welcome you on Sunday and next week as well. That concludes our bulletin. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Len Sawadino. Good afternoon.
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
Karibu katika makala ya wiki hii tukiwa tayari kujifunza mbinu mbalimbali za kilimo pamoja na teknolojia za kurahisisha mazao.
Mimi naitwa Karen Kanewe.
Naitwa Boniface Mutunga. Karibu.
Leo hii tumezuru eneo la Kakamega. Tunakutana naye Bi Joyce Makaka anayejihusisha na kuwazalisha watoto wa samaki. Njoo atueleze kinagaubaga safari yake ya kuwauza watoto wa samaki imekuwa vipi.